Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. Recently there was a dust-up between your girl who swirls and one of these bitter black females on YouTube. And they were upset over the fact that the more girls who swirl go out here and have biracial children, the more competition dark-skinned black women will have when they enter the dating pool. Now, as a man who has done research for his novel Spellbound on this subject of the tragic mulatto and the insecurities of dark-skinned black women, I came to this logical conclusion over a year ago when I was working on that novel. And when you have a large pool of African American women having relationships with white men, Arab men, Hispanic men, Indian men, and Asian men, their offspring are going to be biracial children. Moreover, those biracial children are going to be considered black in American society. So when they enter the dating pool, they're going to go out here and try to have relationships with black men. And that represents competition to dark-skinned women. Now, in many cases, this competition would not be considered a serious threat. However, when it comes down to this dark-skinned black female, she is filled with low self-esteem and extremely high insecurity. And because she is extremely insecure and has low self-esteem, she feels threatened by light-skinned black women and especially biracial women, especially the biracial woman who comes from a black mother and a white father. That is the woman who most dark-skinned women hate, and that's the woman every dark-skinned black woman is terrified of, because they feel once that female enters the pool, they feel like they have absolutely no chance with the pool of available black men. However, if you look at the big picture regarding this whole light skin, dark skin issue, you see that it really has to do with the low self-esteem of dark-skinned black women. And when it comes down to the dark-skinned black woman, she believes that people prefer the light-skinned female over the dark-skinned female. However, the thing that turns people away from her is not a preference for lighter skin. It has to do with her dark heart. And when it comes down to the dark-skinned female, her dark heart turns away many suitors who would actually be interested in her, because those guys see her insecurities, they see her anger, they see that frowned up face, and that turns them away. Not to mention her nasty attitude and her surly demeanor. All of that turns men away faster than anything. Many men would actually be attracted to the darker skinned females if they were kind, friendly, pleasant, approachable, and easygoing, because that's what attracts men to women. That and things like attraction, chemistry, and desire. And these things go over the heads of many of these African American women. They believe that because a woman has a lighter skin tone, she would be more attractive, because the media tells us that a female who has lighter skin is closer to the white, and because that female is closer to the white, that female is more attractive. That's just social engineering, but that's not the case at all regarding men. When it comes down to men, if a female is kind, friendly, pleasant, approachable, and extremely attractive and is paying them some attention, they're going to pay them attention back. And this is something that goes over the heads of many of these females, because they are spellbound. They want to fit into that white box, and they want to get the attention of the white men that they deify. And when it comes down to these females, they fear this competition from biracial women, because they don't want to, they fear that they will not be paid attention to or made a first choice, because if you put a biracial woman in the pool with, especially one who comes from a white father, they fear that that woman is going to get all the attention from the men. And this is something I explored in depth in my novel Spellbound. Now, in the Spellbound novel, the Matilda Crowley character is a biracial woman who was born from a black mother and a white father, and she has to deal with many of the issues that many biracial people deal with as related to dealing with black people. And I wanted to deal with those issues as related to black women, because in this story, I show you all the insecurities many dark-skinned women have, and the things that make dark-skinned women unattractive have to do with their personality, their demeanor, their body language, and their attitude. And I show that in the novel Spellbound with the Chantel character. Now, the Chantel character in the novel is a very slender, attractive, dark-skinned female, but because she has low self-esteem and doesn't like herself, she projects all of her anger and her insecurities on the Matilda character, who is the biracial girl. And she focuses so much on her and is so obsessed with her that she misses out on the man that she's trying to get the attention of, this Omar character, and he doesn't even know that she's even interested in her. And in the story, this is because she's so obsessed with this whole light skin, dark skin thing. Because when it comes down to this whole light skin, dark skin issue, again, it has to do with the insecurities of this dark skinned female. And she is so spellbound by the idea of light being better than her that she doesn't see the value in herself. And this is why many of these females out here believe that they have to go out here and swirl, because they see a higher value in light skin and biracials than they see in black. And that's the big problem with many of them, is that they have this low self-esteem, this low self-worth, and this low value, and they want to try to elevate their value. And because they can't elevate their value, they then take out their anger and frustration on light-skinned women. And all what the light-skinned woman did was just be born light-skinned. That had nothing to do with anything. That's just biology. And that's what leads to a lot of these females having these severe insecurity issues, and in many cases mental health issues, that they feel so bad about being dark-skinned and feel so bad about it that they wind up falling apart because they don't see a worth or a value in themselves. And when I look at this recent dust-up between these two, it shows me how deep the dysfunction is regarding these dark-skinned women and their insecurities about being dark-skinned. They feel like they don't have any worth, they don't feel like they have any value, and they want to fit into the white world, so they try to fit themselves in a black box, and all that does is turn people away, because they see they see the dark heart behind their dark skin. And because they have that dark heart, that's why a lot of people don't want anything to do with them. It has nothing to do with their dark skin. It has to do with who they are on the inside. It's the content of their character that turns people away, not the color of their skin. And what these females don't understand is that light-skinned women have the same issues that they have, and those insecurities in some cases come out, and that's something a lot of people don't want to address. And that was something that I tried to address in Spellbound, and also tried to address this whole self-hate issue as related to black women and how they are so spellbound and trying to fit into that black box and try to be the black that's acceptable to white, and how that manifests into this dysfunction that leads to them being jealous of biracial people. And I look at this whole swirling thing, and the reason why a lot of these women are swirling is because they want the biracial child, because they see a higher value in whiteness than black, and because they don't see value in black, they want to dilute their own blackness because they just don't like themselves. And that's one of the core reasons why a lot of black men don't want to really deal with black women these days, because they have this low self-esteem, this low self-worth. They don't like themselves. And because they don't like themselves, they go out here and they think that they can go to another man, when the problem is them, because the men that they are attracting has to do with who they are on the inside, and because they have a dark heart, they wind up attracting people with the same dark personality traits, and that's why their relationships fail, whether it be with a black man, a white man, an Arab man, an Indian man, or an Asian man, because they are the problem, and because they don't like who they are, it's just hard to like them. If you want to learn more about this whole issue of black people being spellbound by this whole idea of fitting into this black box acceptable to white, and you want to learn more about this whole light skin, dark skin issue, you can pick up my novel Spellbound on Amazon.com by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to help me make more videos, you can click the link to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.